Okay, so Matt's got something special for us. So what do you got here, Matt?
All right, so we got a lantern, not just any old kerosene lantern either. We got a U.S. Army surplus white gasoline lantern. Now they made these anywhere from World War II up until maybe the 80s or the 90s. You can get them, sometimes even still new in the box. They're pretty interesting to have because, like I said, they don't run on kerosene like most lanterns. They run on white gasoline. So what's special about that is if we ever run into some kind of maybe natural disaster kind of situation and you need to scrounge some fuel, kerosene is probably the hardest of all the fuels to find. It's not used in a whole lot anymore. And these white gasoline lanterns can run off the same gas that you put in your car. It will just make more soot and maybe smell bad, but it'll work.
That's pretty cool.
And
so you gonna show us how to light this thing?
Yeah, we'll go ahead and light it. One thing I want to note, if you look at the bottom here, you probably can't see that on the camera, 1944.
Oh yeah, I think we could see it. Dang, so that's like World War II era.
Yeah. So first of all, let's start with making sure we've got some fuel in it. We could probably do to top it off. I'm looking at like half a tank. So let's go ahead and do that. You can get these funnels at Walmart. They have a little screen in it. Just make sure you don't get anything in your tank, you know?
Yeah, maybe we'll link that in the description.
Yeah. Go to the camping section.
Yeah.
I'm not paid by Walmart. I wouldn't take their money. And
so that looks like it holds about a quart, you think?
Around about, yeah. So this is one of those things where you just want to add a little at a time and double check it because you don't want this running all over the place.
So where can you find white gasoline?
So it's coming back in popularity a little bit. So most all Walmarts have it in the camping section. If not, maybe a more specialized camping store. But it's not that hard to get a hold of these days.
Cool.
And so you might be wondering, what is white gasoline? Well, essentially, it's just gasoline. But what they've done is they've kind of taken some of the impurities out of it so it stinks less. And
so it burns a little cleaner, basically?
Yeah.
That's
if you
cool.
run regular, like I said earlier, if you run regular gas in this, it's going to sit up. Okay, so
I've never even heard of a white gasoline lantern or anything like that.
So we're going to make sure that this is nice and tight because this is a part of, you pressurize the tank. That's how it works. So we want to make sure we're not losing any pressure. This is a spare parts canister. It doesn't really do anything as far as the operation. So the next thing that you want to do, you want to make sure that your fuel valve is closed all the way.
Righty-tighty, lefty-loosey.
This is your pump. So in order to open the valve, you need to turn it about a little bit more than a quarter turn, and then all of a sudden we can pump it. And you want to make sure that you have your thumb over that hole in the middle. And I only have to do 10 or 20 pumps because these white gas lanterns operate at a lower pressure than the kerosene ones. And that's really the reason why you can't just swap kerosene and white gasoline in one lantern that's designed for the other, because they operate at different pressures. So the next thing we need to do, make sure you don't lose this. You got to take the nut off of the cap here. I like to turn that upside down and set it in there so I'm not going to forget about it. We're going to want to take our globe and take it out and set it to the side. I don't want to break that.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to break that. I don't think you can buy that on Amazon.
Now, this is kind of a moment where you want to protect your mantle, which is this silk looking bag thing, because it's susceptible to wind. So I'm going to open my fuel valve by 1/4. And
let me get around here.
Yeah.
Gonna open your fuel valve about 1/4 turn.
Yeah. All right, so we've got this nice fireball going. We're gonna go ahead and let that burn to heat up the tube here on the side. There's a term for it, forgive me for not remembering it. But essentially what's going on in here is it's not just an empty tube. It has some filling, it has...
You're referring to this tube?
This tube
okay.
on the side.
Okay.
This thing needs to be hot. That's what kind of, it vaporizes the fuel. So when it comes down here into the mantle, which is this bag, then it's burning fumes and it's getting bright.
Like that?
Right. Now these military ones are a little bit finicky because they run off of fuel that wasn't really designed for lanterns. So sometimes they kind of sputter a little bit when you're trying to get it up. Once it takes, you want to open it up to full.
Give her all the beans, huh?
Yep. Oh, sputters. Dial it back.
Yeah, I can see what you mean about it being a little finicky.
Yep. So you can go through this process for a little bit. Maybe might take 10 minutes more of your life. But there's trade-offs with...
I mean, we're working with 80-year-old technology, literally 80 years old this year. That's awesome.
Yep.
There we go. Okay, so we've got it wide open, and Matt says it's not quite ready because you can still see a flame on the inside. Whenever it is ready, it'll just be glowing instead of having that flickering flame like that on the inside. But it's cold out here, and I think we finally got that tube getting somewhat warm. Let's focus back.
By the way, I remembered what it was called. It's called a generator.
The tube's called a generator.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. 80-year-old lamp, or 80-year-old lantern. That's crazy. Man, look at that thing.
Yeah.
It's been just a couple more minutes.
This is how you know it's going. You can hear it roaring.
See. Hopefully you can hear that on the video, but yeah, you can definitely hear it.
So,
and it's putting off way more light than it was just a minute ago.
At this point, the only thing you need to know is, you'll do that from time to time. Whenever it gets to lower pressure, every now and then you need to add like 5 pumps.
Yeah, it seems like the wind picked up there. It looks like it might be taking on some wind, causing it to sputter a little bit, but that's awesome, man. 80-year-old lantern. Wow.